So what we're making today is a Victorian corset, and a Victorian corset is a natural cut bust line with a classic hourglass waist profile, and it goes over the bust. The neckline could be a sweetheart neck, and it could be a shaped neckline or even a pointed one. Also, the bottom part of a Victorian corset could be pointed, like when you have it like a basque, or and if you want it, it can also be a straight line. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing is to fold material, and what we're going to be folding is going to be the bust circumference measurements, because that's the highest circumference. Now we have the bust circumference, we have the under bust circumference, and we have the waist circumference measurement. So the bust circumference measurement is the highest circumference measurement, so that's what I'm using to fold. So I'll be using the bust circumference measurement plus 8 divided by 4, and for me that is 10.5 inches, and that's the same as the bust circumference measurement 34 divided by 4 plus 2 inches. Now, for if you have been following my tutorials, you know that for every padded blouse there is always need for us to add 2 inches extra to our folding measurement. So the 10.5, I'll be adding extra 2 inches, and that will make it 12.5 inches. Now, because we are going to be passing our boning, yes, I'm going to be making use of boning in this Victorian corset tutorial. So for that reason, I'm adding extra 1 inch in order to create space for my boning. So the 12.5 inches now plus the extra 1 inch will make it 13.5 inches, which I have already folded. Here's my 13.5 inches. Now the length, I am starting with -6 inches. So this is -6 inches, and here is my 8.5 inches, which is the armhole length, and here is my 12.5 inches, which is the under bust length. And then the points where I want my, I told us that the Victorian corset can be a pointed one, so I want it in a basque shape. So the point where it's going to stop is 21 inches. So here is my 21 inches. All right, so we added extra 3 inches, but first let me cut it so we can hide our extra 3 inches. I'm sure we can see this. The 3 inches has been hidden, and from here now, that's from this line, I am going to be taking my circumference measurement. So first I have the bust circumference measurement plus 8 divided by 4, that's bust circumference divided by 4 plus 2, and that is my 10.5 inches. That's from this line, from my 3 inches line. That's where I'm taking the measurement. Then the under bust circumference measurement is taken below the under bust length plus 4 divided by 4 as well. And then here I have the waistline plus 8 divided by 4. Sorry, the under bust circumference measurement plus 8 divided by 4, and then the waist plus 8 divided by 4. So that from here I can connect my lines. Alright, that's been done. We can cut this out first. So we can concentrate more on our material. Okay, so now the extra 3 inches that we added, I am first going to hide, we added extra 1 inch, so I am going to measure that 1 inch now. Now what I'm going to be cutting out is going to be the padded shape, because this is going to be the easiest. We're trying to make it so easy to cut. Now I'm going to be following the bust span. The bust span for this particular measurement is 7 inches, and to fold we are going to fold, so to fold that would be 3.5 inches. Don't forget we have extra 1 inch here, that will make it 4.5 inches. Now from my 1 inch, what I'm going to be holding here at the middle is just half an inch. It's just half an inch on this middle point. So instead of folding my 3.5 now, I am going to fold 4 inches. That's because I need an allowance for my folding. Now plus the half inches which I am still going to hold at the middle point, that will make it 4.5 inches. Do I need to take that again? Now initially we added extra 3 inches. Now from this point I said I am going to be folding my fabric. Now folding it, I'll be following the bust span, and the bust span is 7 inches, which means I'll be folding 3.5 inches. Now folding the 3.5 inches, I need allowance, and that will make it 4 inches that I'm folding. The extra 1 inch that we added to our folding, I am going to be holding half an inch, that's 0.5 here at the middle. So instead of folding 4 now, I'll be folding 4.5 inches. So here is my 4.5 inches folded. Do not forget this is our underbust line. Alright, so there's need to get the nipple points, and the measurements will be taken from the underbust measurements to get the nipple points upward. So it varies, you have to take your measurements. Alright, at the base here, remember we folded 4.5 inches. Therefore, we are going to be taking out half an inch. So what we have will be 4 inches left because of the extra half inches that was added. So we have the 4 inches all the way to the underbust measurements. While on the neckline here, I am going to be taking out 1 inch, and that will be 3.5 inches. Alright, then at the base here, that's at the underbust measurement, I am still going in by 0.25, which means I'm going to connect from my half inch. I'm going to connect to the to this set, that will be 7.5 inches here. Now so I'm going to connect like this, and from this point I'll curve it out to the nipple point, while from the nipple point I get to the neckline, just like this. We're going to cut it out. Now the next thing I'm going to do from this point is to get the nipple points. So you have to take the measurement from the nipple point to the center, and from the nipple point, that's from the nipple point to the right hand, and from the nipple point to the left hand side. So for this measurement I'm working with, from the nipple point to the right hand side, that's the middle part, is 3.5 inches. I'm going to take 3 inches, while from the nipple point to the side, that's to the left hand side, is 3.5, and I'm going to take 3 inches. Now you need to get the point where you want your corset to get to. For me here, we took -6 inches from the measurements, it is -6. So I am still going down more on this part, that's the middle part, for as low as 8 inches. That's the middle part. While here at the top, I am going with a measurement of 7.5 inches. Now I'm going to connect this. It's going to give me a round shape on those points, and that will go like this. Let me start from those points, connecting to the underbust. Now I am not going to get to the underbust line. That's because I left my sewing inch. Remember, I left half an inch on those points, so I'm going to leave half an inch on from the underbust point as well. So the same goes to this other side. And here now you can decide, depending on the shape of the corset that you want, you can decide to give it a curve shape, to meet your line, and you can decide to make it a straight shape. All right. So for me, I am going to connect like this. It's going to meet this, so not directly like a round shape like this. So it's coming like, you get that, then before I come to the middle point. So from this, my 7.5 as well, I'm going to connect like this to meet my one. Okay, like I said, from my point here, I am going to connect to meet my middle point, my middle line. So this is more like a round shape. We can see how it's coming out from this point. But then I am going to connect from this point to meet my armhole of 8.5 inches. Therefore, I am connecting like this, straight up. So this is what I have. So I'm going to cut like this. Now, in case you still want this to go in the more, like you want it to still be, here is the 8 inches. If you still want your measurement to go in as much as 8.5 or even 9 inches, you can still do that. It means you bring it down like I don't really want it to go down, but you can do that, then you still trace it downward. All right, now the next thing I'm going to do from this point is to take my measurement to the point where I want, that's to the underbust. So this point from here now, where I want to add my boning, I can decide to take 2 inches measurement, or even 3 inches. It could be 1 inch 1 inch difference from the base. So you have to follow the measurement of your choice. I am going to take 3.5 inches. Here's 3.5 inches. And here at the underbust, I'm going to make it 2.5 inches. So whatever line I'm taking here, it will be the same thing on the other side because it's still folded. I don't want to start looking for the pieces, so I'm just going to leave it this way. So here at the middle, I am going to divide. I'm going to split this as well. I'll open it up and we'll see what we have. Okay, let's number so we don't mix it up. So this is number 1, This is 2. This is 3. This is 4, 5, and 6. So let's open it up and let's see. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I am going to be doing from this point is I'm going to iron my stay on each of those pieces, and I am going to join. So I have my bonnet. My bonnet will be inserted, and at this point, this is the middle. I'll have another one here and also another one here. If you still want to have your boning in between those lines, you can still do that. You can still have it here, but I guess this is going to be our measurements anyway. So now I'm going to have my stay on it. I'll iron it, then I'll join. So after joining, I'll come back to show us what it looks like, then we can continue. Now I have joined the pieces together, and this is the front part. While taking the measurements, remember I said I want something like a basque shape. So that's what I'll be carving out now from those points. If you want to do that before joining your fabric, you can do that already. So I took the length of 21 inches at this point. While on the side, I am going to take away 4 inches. So here is my 4 inches. If you still want it to go up than that, like you want 16 or you want 15 inches, here is 15 inches. So you can just go with whatever measurement you want, and all you want to do is just to connect like this. So you give it a slant shape. If you want it from 16 inches, you connect and give it a slant. That's what I'll be doing now, and it goes like this. You can see how it looks like after cutting it out. Now I am going to start opening this. I'm still going to trace out this part of this to shaping it out well, but before that I am going to open this part. Now we want to insert our boning. Now you can just cut a strip of fabric like this to be joined in between the lines, forming this. And also I have cut out the pieces of my fabric to form my lining. You can use any lining of your choice, but because I want the inside of my corset looking so neat and almost same as the front, I am using the same fabric as what I have here. So what I'll just do is to cut the lining in the same shape as what I have on my fabric. Still working with my fabric, we are going to okay, like I said, I'm going to join this to the fabric. I'll insert my boning. I'll come back to show us how to insert the boning that right after joining this to my fabric. So I told us that I'm going to be using another material on the outside so I can easily insert my boning. From what we have here, I'm going to pass my boning in this manner for each of the space, all the spaces that I've created. I'm going to pass my boning like that. And of course the lining, here is my lining. I did the same. So I am just going to place this like this in order to bring out the shape that I have on my main fabric. So to cut the base now, we are going to, let's just cut out the base, then we'll continue from there. What I'm going to do is to place, fold my half bodice, that's the upper part, the upper bodice. And I'm going to place it, make sure the fabric, but if I place it this way, it will not be able to contain. So I have to bring it down all the way in this manner. Then I can take our measurements. So still maintaining our 20 inches on those points. The full length, the total length is 56 inches plus 2 inches allowance. I have 58 inches. So here is my 58 inches. You can see I have my 58, and what I'm going to be measuring is the waist. I'm going to take the waist on this point. Now it's going, to fold this fabric first, I use the hip circumference measurement divided and plus 6 divided by 4. That's the hip circumference measurement divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches. So here is the waist measurements plus 6 divided by 4, and I have the hip plus 6 divided by 4. So I'm going to take that all the way. This is my 10, and I'm going to minus 1 inch at the base to pencil the base of my dress, and that will give us 9 inches. So I am going to connect and cut. Now to cut the back, I have to make sure the half length, that's the upper bodice, is of the same length as this side, so that it will align on the material. Remember, we used 16 inches here, so I'm going to use that to cut the upper bodice. But for the base, I am just going to place this directly. But before I do that, on the front part here, there's need for me to, I'm going to follow this shape the same way it is, and I'm going to cut it out. Okay, so let me quickly show us how it's going to be before placing it to cut the back. So this is how it's going to look like after joining. That is the front, but the back will still maintain this part. So let's cut now. I'll just place my Ankara fabric and I'll add my zipper allowance for the back. So you can see I have placed the front to cut the back, and I've added my zipper allowance. Also, there's need to split that of the back into 2, which I have done because of the zipper and the slits at the base. So now we are going to move to the half length. Now to cut the upper bodice for the half length, all we need to do is place the front. Remember, we are still maintaining our 8.5 inches here. Now it's now left to you if you want the back to maintain this straight line, or you still want it to go up a bit, or you still want it to go down more than this 8.5 inches, or whatever measurements you want to use for the length at the back. You can go with what you want. So for me, I am going to maintain this. I'm going to maintain 7.5 inches, while here's my 7.5. While here I am going to make it 8.5 inches. This is my 8.5 inches. So I am going to connect like this, a bit lower. That is what I want for the back. And placing it as well, that's placing the front as well. There's need to remember to add a zipper allowance of 2 inches, which I have added. And don't forget, we are maintaining our 16 inches as the half length, while we still keep this shape. Now we are going to cut. And there's need to slit as well. Now I'm going to cut out the illusion, that's the net part of our dress for both the front and the back. Now to cut the net now, remember we measured 8.5 inches here. So this is the length of my net, and the shoulder divided by 2 is 7, plus the allowance that we left here, that will give us 9 inches. So to cut the armhole, it goes like this. I just hope we can see this. So I'm going to also cut out the shape at the base. Also, it is your choice if you want the net to extend to your zipper allowance, and if you do not want that, that means you not add the extra 2 inches. I'm still going to trim it out, but first let's cut this. Now here's the shape which we have at the back. For me, I want to trim out the extra 2 inches that was added for the zipper allowance. So that's what I'll be trimming out. And if you still want it to go, like you want to create another shape for the back, you can do that as well. So here is the 2 inches. And at the same time, I am going to measure the neckline, which for me, I'm working with 3 inches as the width and 1 inch as the depth. So this is my 2 inches cutting out. And the neckline, there's need to slant with 1 inch on the shoulder. So I'm going to start that from the neck width, and I'll connect to the 1 inch like that. Now, in case you want to create a kind of design at the back of the net, I am still going in by, you can go in by 1.5, 2 inches, depending on the width you want. You can go in by 1 inch. So for me, 1 inch is fine. So this is what I'm going to do. I'll make sure I fold into 2. This is the middle part, which I am measuring out as 1 inch. So I'm going to curve it out to the edge of this folding, forming a kind of a curve shape. So by the time I open this, remember it has no zipper allowance, so what I'll just be doing is to fold it at this point. I'll be folding it, then I'll have this shape, while at the base it's like this. Her zipper allowance goes in on those points, and same as the other side. So Let's move to the front. So that of the front is more like what we did at the back. We still maintain our 8.5 inches for the armhole length, and here at the top is what I'll be marking out. We have the shoulder divided by 2, which is 7 inches, and that is what I'll be marking out for the armhole, just like this. So let's cut it out. Now I am also going to maintain this shape. Now it comes like this, then from this point it goes like this. Let me cut it out so we can see. All right, this is how it's going to look like. So I am going to cut the neckline, which is 3 inches. The same 3 inches that we used for the back width is what I'll maintain. I have my 3 inches, and the depth, you can go with your choice and your desired neckline. So I'll go with 3.5 inches. Here's my 3.5 inches and a round neck. I am also going to mark out my 1 inch for the shoulder slant. All right, back to the half length on the corset. Remember, we took out from the nipple point to the left and also to the right measurement. So I am going to be doing that again in order to bring out the shape. So now you can actually join your fabric before cutting this. You can join it and make it ready like this before bringing out the shape if you want it that way. And if you cannot find a proper way of doing it in such manner, like if you're going to get confused, you can just follow this method as well. Now this is our nipple point line. Remember, here's our nipple point line, which to the left we have 3.5, and we'll maintain this. Our measurement here is still intact. It's reduced here because we joined. Remember, we joined this part and we also joined this part. So I am going to connect like this now. See, it as it increased. So this is our measurement, and remember to add your come in by half an inch because of your sewing. So the measurement I'm taking now affects only this side, and that's because we've joined and we have also joined this part. Whatever measurements we have here still remains intact. I am going to connect like this now, as well as that of the base too still maintains its position because we already know the underbust measurement. So we are tracing it out like this. And then we are going to be inserting our cup as our breast cup. But before then, remember to fix in your boning. So here is my breast cup. You can always go with your desired design. You can go with this. You can bring it up if you want it to go like this, like you want it to face each other in this manner. You can see, you can go with this, and if you want to bring it up all the way like this, you can go with this as well. So you can go with your desired measurements. Now I'm going to be cutting the fabric that we are going to use to wrap this. All we just need is our fabric. I am going to just place my cup more like a flat shape. Here's the shape. You can see So for you to know your breast cup, there are different sizes of cup. You can measure. You can take from the nipple to the top. We took 2.5 inches, and this is 2.5 inches. To the left is 3.5, and to the right is 3.5. Now you can see the measurement. That is how you're going to know what breast cup will go for your size. Here, from the nipple point to the under bust, for this measurement, we used 3, and here now we have 3.5, so we can still go on and use this breast cup for this size. So for the size of 36, 38, this might be still be suitable for that measurement, depending on the nipple point to the top, the nipple point to the left side, and also the nipple point to the right hand side. You can as well measure the nipple point to the base. All right, so I'm sure for like bust of 36, 38, from the under bust to the nipple points will be around 3.5 inches, which this is 3.5, and this cup will still be suitable for that measurement. Now I am going to cut out this shape. I am not going to cut on the line. It has to be outside the line, so I can use that as my seam allowance. We are cutting out 2 of these, and we are going to iron our interface. I'll be using the the stay first before I go ahead and iron my soft wadding. Now look at this. You see that it has covered the whole of the cup conveniently. But then we have, you can see, I have wrapped it this way, but there is space. We have space on the both side, the right side and the left hand side. Don't forget that while we were cutting our padded, we took some measurements at the base where we have, I first took half an inch. That was when we folded. Remember, we folded in this manner, and then we took half an inch while we were measuring, and I came in again by 0.25. Altogether we have 0.75. So we took that measurement, and then here at the top we took 1 inch. So those measurements as well affect this. If I am going to do that, is either I take it this way or and this way, that's at the top. But because I don't want my cup giving me this straight line, like a padded line, I want it by the side. So that same measurement is what I am going to be holding on both sides. So I am going to be taking it out on both sides. And another thing that we need to know is, so like I said, you can decide to cut out your fabric at this upper part and replace the material with either your Ankara fabric, so that you have a kind of design here at the top. I think I would like to do that. First, I'm going to cut this because we need 2 of this. So let's just place 2 cuts. Now the measurement to cut has to do with whatever you want. And I am going to maintain from here like this. This will be replaced with the Ankara fabric. Now, this top part has been replaced with Ankara fabric. What we're going to do is to join it. I'll just hold it with my pin so we can continue with the class. Now from here, like I told us, there is need to take, I'm going to fold it so we can take 0.75 on one side, and we are going to take 1 inch on the other side. The folded part is going to be on this material, that's the plain material alone. And the folding now, it is going to be 0.75 on the right hand side, and 1 inch on the left hand side. At 0.75 is now up to 1 inch, so I'm trying to reduce to 0.75. okay, and here on the other side it is 1 inch. So to join, it is going to come, you can cut it out if you want, and you can leave it if you don't want to. So I'm going to start joining from this point. Let me chalk it out like this, so it meets with the middle part, and then back to, that is how I am going to join. So we'll come back, and then I'll show us how it's going to look after joining. Whatever I've done here, I'm going to repeat the same on the other parts of my breast cup. But first, there's need to iron your stay. So I'm going to iron my stay and my soft wadding on both sides before joining. Now I have joined my fabric, and if you like, you can top stitch on either of the material. Now this is sitting right like this, so we have allowance for sewing. What I'm going to do is make sure I hold it down at the base and as well at the top. All right, I still have excess, so I'll just trim it out a bit. Now after inserting my boning, I have to make sure the base, here is the base, then, or depending, the other time I was talking about the design that you want for your corset. If you want your corset to be a bit curved, like facing each other, a bit curved in shape like this, you can do it like that. And if you want it to just sit and start at the bottom part like this, you can as well do that. So what I'm going to do, mine is going to stay like this, and I am going to make sure I bring the bottom parts, then join to the right hand side and also to the left hand side. Like, it's going to come out like this. All right, I'm going to do the same to the left hand side. And after doing that, what I'm going to do is to bring my net. Here is my net. So I am going to bring the net like this, and I'll start joining. I'm going to start joining, like this. I'm going to follow the shape. You can start your joining from the middle. Just place it like this at the middle point so that you can take it to the left hand side and also to the right hand side. After joining, it's going to come out in this manner. And then the our lining, whatever I have cut here for the cup, I'm also going to cut for the lining as well, so I can join it inside, so that when my net is being placed like this, my lining will also come on it. It's going to be on it. Then I can follow the same shape in order to turn it inside. So the first thing I'm going to do from here is to join my cup. As soon as I join the cup, I am also going to join the cup for the lining. I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to place my net to join and place the lining on it to join. So let's do that, then we'll come back to continue. Now this is the result of it. You can see from the way I explained earlier, I told us that we'll have to place our net, then we had the lining on it so we can join. So after joining, this is what we have. This is the outside and this is the inside of our corset. The next thing we are going to do is to move to the back, and we are almost getting to the end of the tutorial. Now here is the back. The same way we have joined this, we are going to join this as well by placing our nets. Remember, we left some inches here, so we are going to place this as well, just like this, leaving the 2 inches for the zipper allowance. Remember that. Now the lining tool will be placed in this manner, so we're going to join, and then we close this side and this side. So we are going to have, let me use my pin to hold that. Now whatever design you want to create on this net, if you want to leave it in this way, you're fine. If you want to fold it in, or you want to turn with bias, you're going to do that first before turning this with the lining. So it's going to come out in this manner, you can see. So we are going to join, and it is going to come out like this, so that once we fix our zipper, it goes, and then this comes like this, and then from this part we can easily join the shoulder. I'm going to join the shoulder, and let's talk about the base now. Now for the base, it is going to, remember we cut out this shape for the base, so we are going to join as well, starting from the middle. We're going to start joining from the middle point towards the left and to the right hand side. That's for the base of the front, and the back as well. We'll join the back together, then we'll bring out the shape from the side. The area of our concentration in this tutorial is this, which we have completed. All right, and if this is your first time on this channel, do not forget to subscribe for more videos. You also need to click the bell to get notification. It's going to help you get notification anytime I upload a new video. So you can leave your comments as well in the comment section. You can ask questions as well, and I'll be in the comment section to answer that. So let's see you next class. Bye.